Hey, Dennis Armfield from the Blues. We just spent a bit of time with Teddy Richards from the Swans to keep talking footy with footballers, and Dennis Armfield from Carlton, who plays his 100th game this week against the Doggies, has been good enough to join us. G'day, Dennis.
Hey guys, how are we?
Good, mate. Congratulations on the milestone.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Good on you. Before we talk about what's to come, we did this with Teddy. Fremantle on the weekend. For 3 quarters, you were right with him. It was fire with fire stuff and just a really hard, tough, intense game of footy, and they broke you in the last quarter. When you walk away from a game against a side like Freo in that sort of form, what do you take away from it, Dennis?
Oh, look, they're a very good side, and they just strangled us in that last quarter and did it very well. Look, we took a fair bit out of it. We were competitive for the first 3 quarters, and then we also learnt a lot what we have to do right in future games to stop ruts like that.
Dennis, good morning to you. It's Tim here. Are they the hardest side to play against?
Yeah, they're a very well-drilled side. Each player knows their role and what to do and when to do it. So, look, they're a very hard side, and they just keep coming at you. And, they're definitely one of the hardest I've played against this year.
What did you guys fail to do late in that game, do you think, that stopped you from winning against Fremantle? What part of your game broke down?
Oh, probably just our composure, and then probably still taking the game on. We probably went a bit slow and let Freo, cover all our outlets and trap us in, really. And that's what they ended up doing. We didn't take any risks, and that's what it showed.
Dennis, nothing is easy in this world of football out in the ground. What is? I'm trying to find the right word rather than easier. But what is easier? Playing as a defensive forward or a run-with player in the midfield? What can you afford a little slip-up in more so than the other? I know you can't really quantify this, but what gives you a little bit more of a break mentally?
Oh, look, nothing really.
Yeah.
All the players are sort of playing on are pretty great players, and so you can't really let them have a slip-up at all. I guess if you were going to say one thing, which I wouldn't really like to say, but, if you're playing that defensive forward role, you're a little bit further away from your goals. So you've got a bit more time to, if you make a mistake, they're not going to kick a goal on you. Whereas if you're a midfielder, sometimes you're down that end and one mistake leads to 6 points, which you definitely don't want to cough up. So I suppose being a defensive forward, you might have that little bit more time. But in saying that, I still think, every second of the game you've got to be switched on. Otherwise, they're getting away from you.
Who runs the hardest out of all the opposition backmen? Who runs the hardest that you've had to chase up and down the ground?
Oh, good question. Robert Murphy last year was probably one of my hardest players I played on. He's just a freak and very skillful player. Look,
Will do.
Mick sets some standards. And he keeps it pretty basic up front. When he first came into the club, for him we heard from Teddy Richards before. For him, what did he say to you to become a lock-in type senior player? What did he say to you? What was the instructions?
Oh, look, yeah, Mick is very black and white, and he tells you when you're doing something well and when you're doing something bad. And I think Mick's instructions to me were pretty much just keep my competitive sort of hard-edged nature. I've got to get into my opponent, and if I don't do that, and if I'm not hard at the ball, that's when I start to slip in the side. So look, it's just pretty much, if the ball's there to be won, win it, and if your man's there to get him, it's sort of but then in the end of the day, he always comes back to saying play footy. That's what it's all about. So.
Talking to Dennis Armfield, who plays his 100th game for the Blues this weekend against the Dogs. It's time now for the Fast Five. Dennis, okay, I'm going to fire 5 questions at you. First thing that comes to mind. Now, who takes training too seriously and gets over-competitive out there on the track?
He's Scotland.
Now, you boys down there at Carlton, you eat a lot together at the Carlton Cafe. Who's the biggest eater you've got there?
Matthew Cruiser.
You got plenty of ink on your arms and body. Whose tattoos do you admire the most in the league?
Zach Tui's. They've got some good Irish background.
Okay, now you grow a moustache. You obviously knew that Mick Malthouse was on his way to Carlton. Who's got a better moustache, you or Mick?
Oh, silly question. Say Mick.
Of course.
And your stingiest, tightest teammate there at Carlton. I think there's a fair bit of competition there.
Oh, that's Nick Digan, hands down.
Oh, I always love it when that's an automatic response. Hey, Dennis, good luck. The Bullies are coming. They're going to be super competitive on the weekend. Congratulations on your 100th, mate. And let's hope there's many more in store and a lot of wins amongst them. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.